There's my table. Chop the dishes up on. There's a little mount to take the smoke alarm. It goes off all the damn time, so I took it out. Certain little tiddly tat has gone into the roof space. There's a wall where the framing was rotten due to the valley gutter, which is sort of in there between this room and the next room, burst open and destroyed the framing. So I replaced the framing, but I never sort of really closed up the roof space. And there's a little steel ladder leaning against the framing. You can't see it here, but it appears tiddly tats can get up steel ladders with the rungs really quite far apart. And then, if you got a few planks off, they can get into a ceiling space. I don't know if somebody's lost or what, but I'm hearing a bit of meowing up there. And Black Kitty's just trying to fade into the background. Oh, what do you know? Out we come. That just was somebody jumping on the steel frame ladder. You have fun up there, puss. Flaming hell. Well, there's no excuses for moss in the ceiling now. I can't believe you done that. And again, I'm not a cat expert. What's the matter, buddy? You got up and down that ladder plenty of times. Hey, puss? Interesting? Bang, there we go. Steel ladder again. Bit dusty up there, I'll bet, eh? Well, she was above the room with the solar fridge and then went into the kitchen. What do you reckon, pussy? Hey? Up and at 'em, eh, buddy? Is that itchy there, is it, eh? Hey, buddy? Hey? Woo! We're off. Full of beans, eh? God blimey. Cats. No, kitty cats are in the bed. My kitty's purring away there. Oh, I got the wood heater going. I was going to change the battery in the car. To be honest, it's not that bad, and I sort of am pretty tight for money at the moment, so I didn't end up changing the battery, but I did make a point of uploading a lot of files. Yeah. And bought some food and whatnot. Yeah, it's just been raining all flipping day pretty much. And it's good that I've only got a handful of things. I've got to get a few little box sawn bits and snip them off outside. And there's a little bit of wood near the boundary fence that I collected up and put in two little stacks. So I've got to bring a bit of that in. And yeah. Then I've got to cart some water, and there's a handful of little things I want to move around. Take a bit of steel back to my father's place. A few good lumps of steel around here. There's fridge racks and stuff I want to take out. A few corrugated iron sheets that I want to take out. All these are going out to a certain area that I store stuff in. And I've got to bring a little bit of glass back, one of which the sheep stood on and smashed, so I've got to pick some of that out of the grass. But it's good that I've got a lot of stuff pretty much sorted now, because I think the welfare office is about to bare its teeth big time. And more to the point, I think it might be raining pretty often according to the forecast by the looks, so I think that time of year has come. Unfortunately, I put electrolyte, I'll put water in the batteries in the electrolyte, and after that, because the electrolyte's been watered down, they're going to be charged up a bit, and yet we've had, you know, yesterday was dull, today's sort of dull, and I'm probably even going to leave it till tomorrow, you know, to as well, just to give it a full charge, because it's obviously not getting a great deal of sun, so you can't really expect it to do it in one day. But hopefully, apparently the rain shouldn't be too bad tomorrow, so I might start cutting water, and I've got to cut quite a bit to fill the water tank up, about 15,000 litres, and yeah, I've done it once before. I think it was last winter or something in the winter, and all you do is just get stuck and spin wheels and don't do much. So I'm going to hopefully avoid all that, but it's definitely that time where everything's cooling off and the rains finally are coming back. So I probably don't need to water any trees and whatnot. And yeah. Alrighty. I don't know. Getting into a few things here. I've had this stuff from when I had my business, when I cleaned someone's house out. And there were bits and pieces and whatnot, and I sort of put them in boxes that they already had in the house and brought them back here. And I seem to notice I got a lot of similar stuff. I own a lot of brooms. I've got a lot of ladders. I've also got a lot of safety glasses, but so many times I can't find any. And I've sort of been going through some of this stuff. And the other day, obviously, I had a lampshade on my head, and there's a lamp sitting down there. With some of these, like I've got a big stash of electrical stuff. Heaps and heaps of power cords and light fittings and whatnot. But then I've got all full-size light shades, you know, all ceramic blimmin' things like this. And, you know, these things, some of them, like that, is bloody heavy. It's like a blimmin' stone or a fake stone or something. At the end of the day, when am I going to use a lamp? Look, if I used a lamp, first of all, the cats would knock the bastard over and smash the globe anyway. But the fitting itself is good to have, you know, especially it's got a built-in switch. You know, and one of these, as I show you here, that one there, that was an old lamp. That was actually one I had as a kid. And even over there, I got a top of a bean tin and got a hole saw through it or something like that and mounted an old, you know, lamp light fitting in there. And that just stays permanently switched on, even though now I've taken the globe out. So, and the same with that one there, switch there, so that when I turn the power on inside, it turns the lights on. It turns that one there on, which is a little 25 watt incandescent. But all you got to do is undo some of this stuff and you get rid of all that rubbish and then throw it in with me electrical stuff. I've realised I got quite a lot, like there's a whole flippin' one of these door mechanisms, door handles, the complete whole shaboodle, brand new. I mean brand new. Still in the box. You know, it's good to keep stuff like that, especially if one of these doors turns to shit. And this one here, sometimes the blooming key doesn't want to spin around, and I was thinking, oh shit, here we go. And you know, one day, if this does stuff right up, I'll just get that one out of its packet and use it. But what I've realised is I've also got a lot of nails in some of these boxes that she's bought whole packs of nails. You know, there's tools like wire brushes and stuff like that. I just found a blooming gap set, you know, for spacing spark plug gaps in amongst the stuff here. And you know, I've got nails in some of her stuff there. I've got flipping screws down there. I've got other stuff out in the laundry. I've got to go and get all the stuff rounded all up, get it all together. I've got drill bits out in the laundry. I've got drill bits in the other room. I've got a drill bit big set right in there, the solar fridge. I've got to round all this stuff up. And I think during winter, it'll be time to round all these things up and have all your nails and screws in one place, all your drill bits in one place, all your smaller hand tools in another place, you know, and sort of try and have a, you know, reasonable organisation, because trying to find bolts the other night for that door, that was a shitstorm, you know, and I had to go through all this stuff, and I just thought, This is bloody stupid. Why don't I have it all in the one spot? But anyway, I'm stripping out the ridiculous things that I am not going to need and getting rid of them initially. You know, things like salt shakers. I mean, honestly, you buy salt, it already comes in a shaker. What do you need a friggin' salt shaker for? I've got like at least 2 stainless steel sets of salt shakers. So many blimmin' egg cups. I looked at the spoons. The spoons are the most ridiculous thing. I'll show you the spoons. Oh, yeah. How the hell are you going to do anything with a spoon that small? You can't even get coffee to heap up on it because it's about as flat as you could bloody imagine. So some of these things are going to go to scrap metal. Some of them will be, you know, stripped down. Get rid of all the stupid outsides, and then in the winter I'll probably sort it out a bit better. And there seems to be a lot of cardboard boxes that could probably get the heave as well. And yeah, they're going to change the bin setup here, where they take the recycling bin every week, which means I can throw as much gear in as I want. This big thing, which you probably also can't see, great big blooming washing machine cardboard box. I've got a lot of stuff in there. I may keep that. I've sort of moved that around to different areas of the kitchen because it's good for storing things, but we'll work out what happens with this because I've got a lot of dehydrated food actually sitting in it. But yeah, you get shit sorted out while it's rainy days. You ain't going too bad. Friggin' giant big pruning saw. Look at it. It's like bloody new. Tie wire, bit of wire always comes in handy. Notice something with this. Wasn't quite what I thought it was. It's got a blooming pull string on it. You know, the old style ones that hang off the ceiling? No shit. I went and bought one of those at a hardware store, like actually just like the switch mechanism with a spring hanging out of it that was with a string hanging out of it that was designed to basically replace a light switch for an existing light mounted in the house. It cost $32.50, and here I am, one of the freebies when I had my business. All I had to do was just smash the bloomin' shitty porcelain it was in. I sort of get that idea that I wasn't terribly well organised. And amongst a bunch of tools was a full bloody pepper grinder, full of black pepper. I got one from that same house that's on my kitchen table, that's the salt one, and yet somehow the pepper grinder one ends up in with the tools. "101 Uses of a Dead Cat." It's a pretty lame book. I might just chuck it in the wood heater, to be honest. It continues on. This, if I get it to shake out a little bit, it's a whole stack of blades, all to fit said pruning saw. So they've used that one a little bit, haven't really cleaned the bloomin' muck off it, but don't matter, there's about another 5 blades just in there. Well, I found even another salt in there as well, but I don't think I went through this one too well. Flaming candles. Now, I got absolutely loads of candles out of this place. It's a bizarre little brass piece in the bottom. Well, that would probably blow me up. Might be one of those musical ones. I got lots and lots of candles out of this joint, and I spent a long time burning all these candles. And I thought I pretty much flattened them all, and that all I had left was a handful of tea light candles that I bought at a cheap Chinese rubbish shop. And here I am with a whole stack of blooming candles in here. Even your leftover candle wax, I've got some other candles I'll try to make over there out of some of the leftover wax from big candles that just sort of burn down the middle and leave these big sides. You can actually use that if you use little firelighter cubes, which you got like shellite or whatever it is in there, sort of like a kerosene thing, in your little cubes to light your fire. instead of using like 3 or something like that, use 1 and a whole bunch of old wax from candles, especially the big candles, because they always burn down through the middle, but then they leave the sides there. And you watch, all of a sudden, you'll be cutting back on your use of the little firelighting cubes, because as soon as that wax gets hot and it gets ignited, God blimey, it's a chronic blooming firelighter. Another thing is sawdust, just, you know, like from cutting up firewood, mixed with candle wax, is what they sell in the hardware store as eco-friendly firelighters. You know, and you can buy boxes of them, or you can just melt old candle wax you've got and a bit of blooming sawdust from cutting wood, and bada bing, make your own firelighters that way. It gets freakier. I'll get my father to sharpen it properly. I think it's a bit up the shit. It's a blooming plane, a hand plane. I obviously just grabbed hold of this box, took the whole thing and gone, yeah, that's about right. Not even looked at it for 5 blooming seconds, really, and I guess what that is. You know, chalk made out of talcum powder, like blackboard chalk. Well, sometimes engineers, you'll see them, and my father's got a few bits of this, with actual chalk rock as it comes out of the ground, but it'll be like little square lengths of it. This is an actual whole talc rock. Couldn't believe it. I don't know how we're supposed to, I think you use a hacksaw or something, you should be able to cut it up, because it's sort of light enough, and it's not really, obviously it's not abrasive, but that may be a job for the reciprocating saw. Just surprised to find there's a whole actual rock, because I've never actually seen it like that. Oh, I cut the end of my thumb off. No, not really. There's a little one, like a little penknife in there. Very well made. And then I realised why. You can't see it there. Sheffield, England. So it's another one, probably out of the blooming late 60s, early 70s, and she is reasonably sharp, but it's not, you know, it's tarnished, but it's not rusted or anything like that. And yeah, some interesting flaming stuff. Okay, well, it's been raining a bit. Seems the top on the cardboard house is a good idea. It hasn't pulled up except right in the corner, which is sort of weird because that's not where the dip is. Just trying to block the microphone here a bit. Yeah, so they're going to start carting water, and I didn't know if it was going to be too wet, but the ground isn't really slimy. It seems that a fair bit of it has actually soaked through, and while it's damp, it's not actually going to, you know, slip and slide that much. It's pretty, hasn't gone squirmy anyway, so that'll give us enough grip, but if we were an inch of rain, I might be stuffed. So, you know, this is something once I left, and I left to winter, and I couldn't even get around this bloody corner and get up to the tank behind the cardboard house there. And I mean, I was going flat to the board, and it was like 60, 80 k's an hour, and I was going backwards. Because I got the momentum to get up around the corner, and then it sort of couldn't get any further, so I'd reverse back in the hope I'd get a bit more grip on ground that I hadn't driven over. And it just didn't work at all. And I ended up right back down there where all the ramps are and that there. It's turned into a bloody circus. We've been raining. It's about 8.5 mil. That's more than a 1/4 inch anyway. 10 mil is 3/8 of an inch. Yeah, that's not bad. It's enough to sort of dampen everything but not turn it into a bloody swamp. But it really does. I mean, the ground's that dry that there's times where we've had 2 inches of rain and the water runs off the road and doesn't even get to the dams, as we call them, or ponds they call them in the US, because it's filling all the cracks. And you got like 15 metres, like 3 car lengths, and the whole lot just disappears into the cracks. Never even gets a drop into, you know, ponds to, you know, water sheep later on in the dry parts of the year. Here we are again. Sun ended up coming out. That was good, but it was sort of a little bit later on in the day, so I don't know how much my solar panels really got. They would have got a bit though. It was sort of around lunchtime, but yeah, this is load number 5. 1,500 litre tank means I've got to do at least another 5 loads tomorrow, and that'll be 15,000 litres. Flipping wind's blowing, I can feel it. And if I need another 5,000, because you've got to buy it in lots of 5,000, if I can fit another 5,000 in, I'll stick it in. I've got a few IBCs that aren't very full, so they might be getting a bit in them as well if I can't get it all in the main tank. Last night we got 6 loads, so I got another load in. One more than I expected because they were open rather late. I was pumping and the sun was already down. Yeah, fart-arsing around with a few Bluetooth transfers and an email means I get an hour late start compared to what I was hoping to get. They open at 6 AM, but here I am now, and it's basically, what was it, 6 minutes past 7, so... Now this, I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah, you can. Smoke drifting out of the old joint there. Everybody gets all the wood heaters going, and yeah, yesterday as I was driving back, you could smell the wood heaters, you know, you could smell the wood smoke sort of thing as I was driving back with the 5th load there. And there's been times where I come in here on a Saturday morning just to get the newspaper to look for jobs or whatever, and you have your window down a little bit, and I swear the whole way you can just smell wood smoke, and you can just see one house, the next, the next, the next. All these ones all got smoke drifting out chimneys, and you know, it's like Saturday morning comes, nobody has to go to work, it's freezing cold, and the first thing they do is, right, let's light the wood heater, you know, and particularly on mornings where it's like only 5 degrees Celsius, you know, if you have the window open while you're driving in, or even down just an inch or 2, you smell wood smoke the whole way. That's the way it is out here, and that's the way it rolls.